Okay, first things first, guys. I am no welder. I'm mostly a woodworker and a hack at that. So, a couple of things. Don't learn anything about welding from me. This is about ways we're going to work on the welder. You feel free to comment on the welding style. I'm always happy to get tips how I could get better. But understand, this is not about certifications. This is not about inspections. Definitely, even if you are the best welder ever, I would not suggest you do anything structural with anything from Harbor Freight. So, with that, I've got a jacket on. It's not a welding jacket, but it's just something to keep the UV off my arms. I'm going to throw on the gloves and just lay down a bead on this piece of scrap. This is actually two pieces of 1/8 angle that have already been welded together at the corners. So yes, we're going all Harbor Freight today. We've got the Harbor Freight gloves. We've got the Harbor Freight auto darkening helmet, which is filthy. Throw that bad boy on. And away we go. All right, bead number 1. Get that off there. Now, why do people hate this welder so much? Well, let me grab the camera and I'll show you up close. Okay, YouTube, the big complaint with the Harbor Freight welder, the BBs. You see all those BBs? That's called spatter, and flux core welding is notorious for it, but because of the nature of this welder, and here is the problem. This thing is really just a big transformer in a box. It is AC output, which means that it's DC electrode positive half the time and then DC electrode negative the other half of the time. It switches back and forth every 60 cycles, or 60 times per second. AC output is a real bummer for any kind of wire welding. If you were using straight up MIG, solid wire with a shielding gas, you would want your torch tip to be positive, DC, not AC. DC, electrode positive, and then your ground clamp would be what you think of as ground, minus negative on your battery, however you want to think about it. Flux core is the opposite. Flux core wants the torch tip to be DC electrode negative and your quote-unquote ground to be positive. So think swap the leads on your wire welder or your battery or whatever. With AC, you either have neither or both, depending on your view of the world, right? You've got a sinusoidal wave that's positive one direction, negative the other. So the torch tip and the clamp are alternating polarity 60 times a second on US power, 50 other places. So that alternating back and forth causes the slag to do all kinds of weird things, and it makes BBs everywhere. And it may or may not be good for your penetration. I don't know. I've never done any stick welding, so I don't have anything to compare it to. In terms of penetration, I didn't get the camera in here close. I just picked some random settings because I just wanted to lay down a bead. I have the thing set to the minimum power and number 5 on the wire feed speed. We're going to talk about all those problems a little bit later. And what I have here, I have a bead that's reasonably well tied in along the sides, but it has lousy penetration. It just scratched the surface of this thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crank it up. I'm going to put it on max power, I'm going to turn up the wire feed speed, and I'm going to lay down a bead that hopefully is going to tie into this metal a lot better, but you're going to see what it looks like when you do that. Alrighty. So there's the welder on max power, and that's about number 7 on the wire feed speed. So what do we have? Well, we have much better penetration. We still didn't get all the way through this, and this is 1/8 material, and I only have, you know, one piece. I'm laying a bead on the surface. I don't have 2 pieces to heat up. So power is definitely an issue with this welder, even with flux core, which tends to run hotter than MIG for the same amps. Anyway, it's an okay bead, so my wire feed was pretty smooth, pretty constant, but I have BBs everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And that's what happens, is you turn this thing up higher and higher and higher to get more penetration, to try and get the weld into the metal that you're trying to weld. That's the whole point of this. That AC power just blows the stuff further and further, blows more of it out. I should probably cut one of these apart and see if it's bad enough that it's causing porosity. Might be, might not, I don't know. I'm not, again, not doing anything structural because not a welder and Harbor Freight, so give me a break. Anyway, that's the stock setup. It's lots of BBs. It's, you know, questionable looking beads on there. And so now let's talk about some of the things I'm going to do to try and improve the situation, make this machine do at least what it's capable